Tonight is the September celebration night at the Fourth Dimension, and tonight we have 4 celebrants with a combined 12 years of sobriety. First, Jeremy will come and present Michael P. with their 4-year medallion.
This thing's recording, don't mess with it when you come back. Okay, all right. I'm Jeremy, I'm alcoholic. And I did. I've known, this is so cool. I've known Mike for a long time, right? Him and I went to the same treatment center together like 6-something years ago. And I got to watch Mike come in here and look like catch fire for this deal. And then I got to watch him get kicked out of that place for fraternizing at best. I don't really know how to put it. And then it's weird because a lot of guys in there that I knew, we'd lose contact. And for whatever reason, I would just keep coming in contact with Mike again and again and again. And he'd kind of keep coming back around. And so I've known him a long time, and one of my favorite that's ever happened with this guy is I had made a go at sponsoring him a few years before, and he's at this halfway house, and we're sitting down to do his fifth step, and I'm real excited to do it, and Mike comes in looking rough, I don't know, you know what I mean, and we sit there and we start reading, and Mike and I are both alcoholics, we are also opiate enthusiasts, and Mike real, like almost immediately I watch his head like drop down a little bit. And hey man, what's going on, bro? And he like lifted his head, and he was, for a guy that was moving slow, he was quick, and he goes, it's like nothing, man. I was inviting God into the room with us. About 10 minutes later, I was like, whatever, it ain't gonna hurt, man. So like we keep going through this, and 10 minutes later he pops up and goes, I'm thirsty, I'm gonna get a soda. You want a soda? And I said, I don't want a soda, I want to do this, but go ahead. And he goes into the kitchen for 10 minutes, and he comes back with a plate of waffles and no soda. And then I didn't see Mike again for like a year. And so anyway, he went down to he got, obviously got sober, and it's such a miracle, right? So to watch a guy who is knotted out in a plate of Egos to like the guy that Mike is today is such an amazing thing to like watch what Alcoholics Anonymous and God has done to transform this guy, right? I have watched him just work a job I don't think he liked all that much, you know what I mean? But like stuck with it because it was supporting his kid and the trust of his family, and I watch how this dude is with his daughter and what Mike's a good dad, you know what I mean? Like that's what this stuff has done, right? From a guy who is gonna like lose his kid, right? That I get to watch this guy become like very involved and like a really good father. I watch him help a lot of guys. I watch him do things behind the scenes in this deal that he doesn't bring. I have to find out through other people what Mike did. You know what I mean? If I do something, I'm squeezing it into a conversation. You know what I mean? I'm leaving a trail of humble breadcrumbs up to, you know what I mean, to whatever. And I got to watch Mike become a full, I don't know, man. It's just so cool. It really is, man. And it's an honor to get to do this with you, brother. And I love you, man.
My name's Mike. I'm an alcoholic. Am I close enough? Pocket, thank you. You've seen this once, huh? 2019, I guess. I met Jeremy, and that was not like my first time in treatment, right? I'm a hard case, man. I been to treatment 11 times, and I've been to detox, I don't know, somewhere close to like 80 to 100 times, and thought if I had like a kid, you know, that if I got my alcohol dealer pregnant, that like we would get sober, and we did not. But I would do good. I would go to treatment, right? I'd do good. I would stay in there for, unless I get kicked out, but I'd stay in there for like the 30 or the 3 months, right? And I would get out and like, thank you AA people for coming in, but like, I'm gonna figure this thing out. You know, really what I need is like a good job in my own place, and I'll be fine. That's all I really need. And I get out and I somehow managed to do that within a month, and I got no solution, so like I got to go celebrate about how good I'm doing, you know, and I go out and I get loaded, and through trying this thing over and over and over, like I got a lot of white chips, I got a lot of 3-month chips. I probably got like 1, maybe 2 6-month chips, right? And I go back out and I'm thoroughly convinced this time when I'm in treatment that I don't have good ideas. Like I don't know what's best for me. So where I was at, like right before that I went to treatment this last time, right after like Jeremy saw me and a bunch of people actually in this room helped get me to detox, and I was homeless in the woods, right? I'm living in the woods. I'm stealing hot dogs from Circle K to be able to eat Polar Pop when I'm thirsty. And I got like no teeth in my mouth. I go to the hospital. I got hepatitis A, B, and C. And like, I'm dying, man. And my daughter's, I don't even know at this point, she's probably 2 years old or something like that. And that's all I ever wanted my whole life, right? Was a little girl. And I get one, and I can't stop, man. I'm in the woods, I can't stop. So I go and I do this thing, and I've seen it work. I've seen people stand up here, and they're like today, right, 4 years. But I thought like 1 year was like infinity. How do you do that, you know? And I had really good sponsorship when I got out of treatment. I was thoroughly convinced that I was going to listen to these guys, whatever they told me, whether it made sense to me or not. Like, I'm going to do it. And let me tell you, if that's your mindset, you're going to be inconvenienced. It's going to happen, okay? Like, I would want to go see my daughter. I'm like, I haven't seen her, and he's like, yeah, I can appreciate the fact that you have feelings for your daughter, but you've had them for 2 years. So how about we do this work? And then you can go see your daughter whenever you want. And I didn't like that. But I did it. I skipped out on a lot of things that I didn't want to skip out on. But my pattern showed I'm only desperate for so long. I only got this little bit of time to get this work done. Otherwise, like, I'm good. Like, mom's not yelling at me to get off the couch anymore. You know, the police aren't after me. The manager at Walmart, I guess, forgot what I looked like because I can walk in there now without them chasing me. And before all that stuff like wears off, man, I got to get this work done. So like when I work with guys, I constantly remind them, you know, like I can appreciate that you want to go do that with your kids, but hey, like you're on the operating, if you're like me, you're on the operating table here. And you got to get this stuff done, man. Right? And that was the thing that I never did when I came in here, is like I didn't do the 12 steps. I came in here and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, let's go out to eat afterwards. Awesome. And that's about all I did, man. I came to meetings, I showed face, and I went and I ate, and that was it. What I didn't really think was that I never set out to get 4 years sober, ever. I didn't really even set out, I don't think, to get a year sober, because that seemed like forever. I can tell you that I was able to build a tiny house on the same property that I slept in the woods. I can tell you that I get to pick my daughter up every day from school, drop her off. Today I put her in sports. Today was her first day of soccer. Right? I own my own business today. Like what? You know, like that stuff doesn't like. I'm the homeless guy with every hepatitis there is, with no teeth in his mouth, stealing from every store, and like army crawling on the ground into my mom's bedroom while she's sleeping to steal out of her purse. When I swore to her 3 hours ago, Mom, I'm done. I'll never do that stuff again. Please just let me back in. If you're new here, get a sponsor and listen to what they have to say.
Congratulations, Mike. And now Chris will present Mark F. with their 4-year medallion.
Jack this up. Myself. My name's Chris. I'm alcoholic. Congratulations to everybody who picked counting days, and Mike, good job. It always gets said here on these anniversary nights, but this is nothing that any of us have ever done, right? This is all a show and tell project for what the power of God working in and through us, and this is it. So, but it's amazing to be a part of and to witness it and to just be here for all of it. And one of the cool parts about being at this place all the time is I get to see these miracles, and Mark is no exception to the rule. Mark brought me his own medallion to give him tonight. But I have another one too. But I guess the group has one as well. But I met Mark, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't know how well, whenever that was. Doesn't matter. I met him a while ago before he was sober now, and he was at a halfway house, and I guess the theme is good dads tonight, really. Like, because the two guys I'm giving these medallions to are just, they hold the bar so high for me. They really do. But anyway, Mark didn't have a kid at the time when I met him before, and I don't know, Mark almost looked like out of place at that place, you know, if you've ever been to a halfway house and you see this guy, it's like, how'd you wind up? I gotta talk to this guy and find out how he wound up here, you know, and you talk to him for a minute and you know he fits right in, you know, he has this peculiar thinking that we all have, and but the honesty and the genuineness and just, this dude's a great guy, and I get to watch him in his marriage, and, you know, I hear the things he does at home, and I know he does them, and it's no shot of a miracle. Like, what God can do with a willing person, because when I saw Mark come back in here, I've only sponsored Mark for, I don't know, 5 or 6 months now. He had a different sponsor when he got sober, but just to be able to watch the miracle take place in his life and in his family's life is what I don't know what I do for these guys, but I know what they do for me. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Chris. I would like to say that I'm spiritually enlightened today, but I still feel the need to defend myself. I got the same medallion. I drill a different hole in it every year, so it's personal to me. I didn't go out and buy myself some extravagant thing. Whatever. Thank you, Chris. Anyway, 4 years. That is double what I've ever had before in sobriety. The longest I've been sober since I was a kid. And it's not what I expected to be sober for this long. I thought I'd be some spiritual giant and walk around here floating and handing out grace to everybody. And no, I'm petty. I'm still petty. And frequently fearful. I have plenty of character defects that I still have to ask God to remove every day. And that's what I do have today, is a connection with a power greater than myself that can take away my problems. And it's a great gift. I'm able today to, I'm just going to tell you some of the gifts that I have instead of telling you all about my drinking. I drank a lot, and I'm qualified to be here. But I didn't get all these great things happen all the time. I mean, it's not like life is happy all the time. I mean, life gets tough. But I have this relationship that can help me in these times. As bad as things get in my life, the thought of having a drink is still very far away. And that's a great blessing. Today I can be in an argument with someone, heated debate, and I know that I'm right. And I'm about to lay the hammer down with some logic, and the other person says something that makes some sense, and I'm able to pause and go, you know what? You got a point. I'm able to change my mind today in the middle of a heated argument. I could never do that before. I'm able to go to CVS, and no matter who I encounter, I don't have to duck around to the next aisle because I owe them money. I can look anybody on this earth in the eye today. That is a gift that I didn't even think I wanted until I got it. My phone can ring, and it could be a number that I don't recognize, and I can just pick it up and know that I'm able to deal with whatever's on the other side of it. I don't have to hide today. It's a wonderful way of living. Like he said, I have two boys, one's in kindergarten, and he knows that I'm going to pick him up. And he knows that when we get home, I'm going to do his homework with him. I am a person today that is available to show up for life. My 3-year-old, I've not had a drink as long as he's been alive, and that's a great blessing. And even when things are tough, I can still be mildly happy. I can still find ways to be grateful for what I do have. And to go from a person who was always thinking about what they needed to get in order to be happy, I am someone today that can be happy with what I have. And it's a wonderful way of living. I see a lot of people out here that I love dearly. Never loved anybody. Really, not nearly as much as myself. To be here amongst all these people that care about me and I care about them is a gift that I also couldn't have asked for. I'm very grateful to be here today. Thank you to the Fourth Dimension for showing me the way.
Congratulations, Mark. And now Chris will come and present Nathan with their 2-year medallion.
Chris, alcoholic. And like I said earlier, Mark is a hell of a dad, and this guy here. When I met Nate just shy of 2 years ago, we were bringing a big book meeting into a halfway house, a men's halfway house, on a Monday night. And earlier that day, I guess, or earlier that week, his newborn daughter was taken from him and his. I don't know what you'd call her, baby mama. Nate walked up to this meeting that we were just doing a big book study, and this guy just told us all that. He didn't know any of us. He's from an hour away, and he just sat in on this meeting, told us that, and this was a big guy that was emotional. And when big guys are emotional, that's a weird deal, but it was it's powerful, too. It's a powerful deal. And so to watch Nate then get sober through all that and do everything he had to do to get that kid back is nothing shy of a miracle. And then a lot of turmoil took place, and now he's basically a single dad raising this kid that he didn't even know if he was going to get back. And I mean it when I say these guys hold the bar. My wife does everything I do. These guys do stuff, like for real. And it is an honor to give you your 2-year medallion, brother.
I'm Nate, I'm an alcoholic. Well, yeah, talking about being emotional. Having flashbacks. Remember the first time I got up here was my sponsor asked me to be a 10-minute speaker, and it was like right now. I got 2 years, and I'm like, what is happening right here right now? But it's all right. I'm gonna have to, pause a little bit here and there because it's just all right. All right. Here we go. All right. Do I got 10 minutes or do I got 2 minutes? No, they had like 10. Okay. All right. Well, like Chris said, I was my truck blew up. I didn't even have a bicycle. I came to real recovery, and all I knew that I was going to get my daughter back. So, I asked him to be my sponsor, and I had a spiritual awakening at the same time I met him. So, before I did the steps, I had a spiritual awakening. So I was already on 12 when I hadn't even started a step. So, because he's like, this guy was telling me, he's like, who's your sponsor? I'm like, Chris Kelly. He's like, well, that's a Godfather sponsor. So I was like, yeah. I just want to thank Chris. He's the one that founded Fourth Dimension, right? No? Did you find Fourth Dimension? No? Did he? 2 minutes up yet? No. No, but everything that Mike said and then that Mark said, just put that all together, and that's. I'll say a few more words. The prompt. What? I got what?
20 seconds.
Okay.
20 seconds.
All right, the promises, they're promises, and they are real. They're serious. Everything all of a sudden it opens up, and I'm just so grateful to have this program and have all y'all and have a sponsor that's in a sponsee. He's right there. Anyway, yeah, I'm willing to sponsor. But thank God, thank all y'all for being here tonight, and God bless everyone. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nathan. And next, Victoria will present Amanda with her 2-year medallion.
My name is Victoria. I'm an alcoholic. And it's just by chance that it happened at this meeting tonight because she didn't mention anything to me. But, it's amazing to be here. I'm grateful to be here, and it's a blessing to present you with your 2-year medallion. This is what Alcoholics Anonymous is all about. Being able to see people come here broken and lost and get their lives back and get their families back. And I've been able to see that with Amanda. You know, she came in and she was surprisingly willing. Like, she did the work. She was so organized. She had everything color-coded, and that definitely wasn't my story when I got in here going through this work. But it's been an honor to walk through this with her, and I know that when she first got here, she didn't really have a relationship with her kids like she wanted, and I've been able to watch her become the most amazing mother and show up for her kids and show up for my kids. And you really gain like a second family in here, and I've been able to do that with her, and I consider her a really close friend, and it's just an amazing thing to be able to watch somebody grow and just be a great mom and be there for her family, and her relationships have grown, and she's always shown up and had a commitment and kept it, and yeah. Well, yeah, you have. So, congratulations.
And I was doing very good with my services. I've had some health issues lately, so I was the secretary, but I really miss being here. I miss the connection in the community. Anyway, congratulations to everybody who got a chip tonight. It's fantastic. And for me, one of the hardest things actually about coming into AA and accepting the responsibility was saying that I had a problem with drinking, because I grew up in a very different type of environment and then had one thing after another. But I was in the military, and to say that you were struggling with something made you feel weak, and being weak was not something I ever wanted to be. And then when I finally accepted the fact that I needed help, having the support of a community like this and realizing you're not weak, you're actually much stronger by asking for the help that you need, is fantastic. So anyway, I asked Kelsie to be the speaker tonight, since I am considered the youngest celebrant tonight, and I don't have a lot to say. And I'm also getting really hot standing up here. So if Kelsie could come and speak.
Oh my God. I am Kelsie, and I'm an alcoholic. Holy smokes. My sobriety date is January 9th of 2015. My home group is the 4th Dimension group of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I have a sponsor, and I sponsor some really amazing women. And I torture myself the day that I speak. I don't know if you can see this, I'm a wreck. But I'm going to get into it. So I was born and raised in Palm Harbor, Florida. Awesome. Really awful place, super dangerous. And my dad was a mailman. My mom was a real estate agent. I'm the legitimate child of a mailman. And life was not like awful. I lived in a suburb with parents that loved me and supported me, and I didn't have a tumultuous upbringing. So when I was 16 days old, my mom put an ad out in the newspaper for a nanny, because she worked a lot. She needs somebody to watch me. And this family who had just happened to move down from New York, and the dad worked in the post office, and the mom was a real estate agent. They answered the ad, and her name was Christine, and her husband was Ted, and they had 3 kids, and they were just amazing. They were Italian. They liked to eat and hug, and they were loud and boisterous and fun. And my family was quiet, and so I got to go over there and eat gabagool and play cards, and I got hugs and kisses, and I was called Kelsie Mo, and I felt really special there. I felt like I belonged, because at this point my mom and dad were getting divorced, and my dad was here's your new stepmom and brother and sister. By the way, you don't have a bedroom anymore. And my mom was like, I'm going to play How Stella Got Your Groove Back and power date every man that pays me attention. So it was like, all right. So when I was there, I felt a part of something. I felt like I had a family. I felt loved. They had taught me how to swim. They taught me how to play basketball. I was in karate with their kids. They taught me how to play Nintendo and cuss and, listen to, Bone Thugs and Harmony. And I loved it there. I felt a part of there. I felt like I was truly a part of somebody's family, because when I went to my dad's, I was sleeping on a couch and I didn't feel like I belonged. And when I went to my mom's, she was really sick with a thyroid disease. She worked all the time and she just really needed another person to feel loved. So she constantly had a man in her life. And so I'm telling you all of this because when I was 11, Christine got diagnosed with multiple forms of cancer. It was very aggressive. And I had to watch this person who lit up my life wither away and die. And I just remember being 12 and watching her die, and I was just like, why did God take away the one thing in my life that made me feel safe and secure and loved? And I just got so mad at God, so mad. I was like, how? Why me? Why would you do that to me? And I started taking it out on myself. My mom's not an alcoholic. She drinks a Donatini a night and smokes one Newport menthol. And my mom's name is Donna. She named a drink after herself. And it's a Donatini. And my dad never drank, although my aunt and uncle were severe alcoholics. He would have Keystone lights in the garage fridge, and I'd start sneaking those, and his Benson and Hedges, and my mom's Pearl vodka, and I was this was middle and high school, so whatever I could get my hands on. My dad had one of his kidney stones. He would take 2 painkillers and feel fine, and I'm like, okay, thank you. I just was taking whatever I could. And by the time I graduated high school, by the skin of my teeth, I think I missed 80 days of school. And I was bad off. I literally, anything that I could find just to not feel idle in my head. I didn't want to be near myself. I didn't want to be alone with my thoughts. Nobody liked me. I was apart from. You were not like me. And that's how I felt. And by this time, I think I graduated when I was 17, so I was 18, almost 19. It's the first time I went to my mom, and I was like, I have a problem. Something's not right. I have a problem. And she sent me to detox, and it was super cool. I got to eat frozen cranberry juice with a spoon and go to these meetings, and they gave me meds that made me feel sleepy, and it was cold, and I was just like, this is great. And I was when I got out, I was not very serious about it. I just went right back to my lifestyle. At this point, I started working at a bar. I was up till 4 a.m. I had access to anything I wanted to make me feel any other way but the way I had to feel when I was by myself. And it just continually got worse. And my mom, with a Donatini in her hand, no, I'm just kidding, she was like, you know what you need? Because by this time I had a stepdad, and he's wonderful. He is still my stepdad. He's the most amazing man in the world. She's like, you need to go to Dade City, Florida, to your stepdad's farm, and you just need some fresh air and a new start. And it's going to be so good for you. And I was like, okay. So I went there, and my stepbrother and 18 acres of land, and we can do whatever we want whenever we want. So we partied, and we loved to party, and we were always having bonfires. I remember 3 minutes of my years there. It's just guns and booze. You're in the backwoods, but I did not get better, is the point. It got exponentially worse. And one day my stepbrother came home. He and I had the Florida prepaid college gig. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to cash in my Florida prepaid college and move to Key West. And I'm like, I need a new start. I think that sounds good. Everybody goes to have a positive new start in Key West, Florida, right? So I packed my backpack, and that's all I had in my name. And whatever I could fit in there to keep me not sober on the way down. And immediately when we get there, I was always good at finding a job. I found a job. I was like, I'm going to go to college. So I signed up for pottery and astronomy at Florida Atlantic Community College. And I, it's going to be different down here. And I, immediately found a bar. It was like the Purple Porpoise or Purple Dolphin or something. And I found some homeless man named George that lived in the mangroves and got me all my dry goods that I wanted. And that was my life in Key West, Florida. And I'd drive in the morning, I'd be like, George! And he'd crawl out of the mangroves. It was so good. I hope he's doing okay. And I got this job at Cheeseburger Key West. And if you know Key West, it is a melting pot. There's people from all walks of life, all parts of the world that come to live there, party there, vacation there. And I worked with a girl, and her name was Victoria, and she was from Russia. And she comes to me during a shift, and she goes, "Are you married?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "I have a friend, Vadim, and he's looking to marry someone to get his green card." And I was like, "Oh, yeah?" And she goes, "Yeah, why don't I give you his number and you guys can set something up and meet?" And I'm like, "Okay." So it's Saturday, and I'm dressed up, and I meet him at this pool hall, and we're talking, and I'm like, "Okay, so what's in it for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, $30,000. And I was like, "Okay, I'll ponder on it." And so that Tuesday, my last name became Taranyenka. I was a wife. And I was $30,000 richer. And so I continued to live my life in Key West, and I did not draw one sober breath down there. Not one. And my life that place does not sleep. It truly does not sleep. If any time of the day, if you want to go do something nefarious, you can. And so my drinking got worse. My situation got worse. I ended up stealing a credit card from my hairdresser, buying a bunch of diamond rings at Zales and pawning them. And my hair looked good, though. And so I had a warrant out for my arrest somehow, and I went to my fake husband, and I was like, "Listen, honey, I have to run away back to Dade City for a little bit. I'll see you soon, all right." And I went back to Dade City. I was running away from this warrant for my arrest, and eventually I did get caught, and I went to Key West, Florida jail, where they have a petting zoo, and I worked there. It was really fun. And after about 4 months in jail, shaving my head, Britney Spearsing it, and telling myself how I'm going to do life differently, I finally get released, and I went back up to Dade City, and as soon as I walked through my door, my stepbrother's partying, and I had no defense. I had no defense. I had no solution to my problem at that moment. And so I immediately, not a thought in my head, not a morality check, not a maybe they shouldn't do this time, he just got out of jail, nothing. I just went right for it. And before I knew it, I was back in a detox, and I met Bubba. And Bubba was from Plant City, Florida, and he had some teeth in his mouth, which was cool. And he knew how to fix cabinets, so I was swooning. And I fell in love. And 7 days later, we got out, and I'm like, we're gonna do so good. And I moved into his house, and we played house and all these things, and we stayed sober 0 days. And I literally just took over his life. And I had a little Datsun 5-speed pickup, and he had a truck, and His truck got T-boned immediately, like 2 weeks later, and he got arrested. And I moved back to my dad's in Dade City, so he was taking my Datsun back and forth to see me and then go home for his curfew. And one night he left and tried to call him in the morning to pick me up for work, and he didn't answer, kept calling, and finally his wife called me, and she said, "Bubba wrapped your truck around a tree, he's dead." And his wife, who's battling stage 2 breast cancer and has 2 children with Bubba, just told me that her husband died, and all I can think of is, well, what am I going to do for a car now? Because I'm selfish, because I'm an alcoholic, and that's the way I think. I only put me first. It's what does Kelsie need? And he had a blankie that his grandma knitted him when he was a baby. And she goes, "Do you have his blanket?" And I said no, and I was wrapped in that blanket. I lied straight to her face. And my mom goes, "You know what you need?" Because I was, feeling sorry for myself. She goes, "You need to go to Minnesota with your cousin. She does yoga. I heard that's good. You just need some fresh air and some Minnesota land. And it'll be good for you. You should go." I'm like, "Yeah, well, okay, whatever." And so I get up there, and I can't stop drinking. I'm going to these different places, but I'm still there, and I suck, and I can't stop drinking. And my cousin did like hot yoga, and it's like yoga in a 100-degree pine box, and when you're drinking and doing that, it's awful. But she like made me, and I'm like, I just want to go drink. So Minnesota sucked, and I moved right back home because that yoga does not cure alcoholism, guys. And so I moved back down to Florida, and I had nothing going on. My dad died of a heart attack, and the morning of his funeral, it was on a Sunday at Sylvan Abbey in Clearwater, and I went to a 7-Eleven on Alt 19 in Tampa Road, and I tried to steal a bottle of wine and almost got arrested on the morning of my dad's funeral. And my mom, who does not like my dad, she likes to tell me how much I'm like him, begged the cops not to arrest me because it was my dad's funeral that day, and they somehow let me go. And I embarrassed him. I embarrassed my dead dad at his own funeral. I was schnockered. And I don't even remember what I said when I got up there in front of all of the people he has worked at the Postal Service with for 36 years, in front of my family, in front of his friends. I just made a complete ass out of myself, and I don't remember one bit of it. My mom refuses to tell me. And that's the kind of person I was. I like to make these things about me. Your stuff happened to me, and let me show you how and why. Because that's the type of person I am. I don't have any regard for you, I just want what I want, and I want to drink, and I'm going to do it any way possible. And if I can use your misery as an excuse for me to get a drink, I'm going to. So, at this point, I'm working at a bar, and because I have the biggest daddy issues in the world, I'm dating a mailman, and his name was Adam. He was very nice, very normal, and I somehow convinced him I was normal too, and I started living with him. And working at this bar, again, I could not draw a sober breath, and at 4 a.m. one night, I went to Lock Street in Dade City. Is anybody familiar with Lock Street in Dade City? Okay, fantastic, welcome. And I decided to have a little extra party stuff, and I went into the house, and when I got out, 5 cop cars were nice enough to escort me out of the neighborhood, and I got arrested. And they said, "You need to go to drug court." I said, "I'm a drinker." And so they put me in drug court, and I could not draw a sober breath. I couldn't. At this point, my dad had 18 acres. He had the house, and then he had the 70s house, which was like dilapidated and bugs and like brown water and sometimes electricity and rodents. And I was on this gross futon mattress on a plywood floor, probably in black mold, and I was by myself. I was bloated. I felt like my hands would shake every morning. I felt like I was being microwaved when I woke up, and I was just like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die any day now. and I don't know what to do to stop it. So I called my probation officer and I was like, I think I might have a drinking problem. Can you help me? And she threw me in jail to dry out, and I went to this halfway house that's around here. It's called Ace Opportunities. And I just sat there miserable for 2 weeks. I had all of this guilt, shame, and remorse, and no solution to it. And I just was miserable. And I'd go to these meetings that they make you go to. And, like, you guys were happy. You guys were hugging. And I kept hearing about the ninth step. Everybody's making amends and their life is so good, and look how normal I am and happy I am, and I have no problems. And I'm like, you know, like I was just over it. And I just remember just like having a moment where I shot my hand up in the air and I was like, I'm Kelsie, I'm an alcoholic, and I hate myself and I can't live like this one more moment. And I got a sponsor that day. She kind of got me. She like cornered me. And I was at a point in my life where I was so desperate. I was so ready to not feel the way I was feeling. And I did whatever she wanted. She lived in the same halfway house as me. Here's my phone, here's her phone, there's a wall. She'd tell me to call her. I could hear her pick up my phone call. But I would do whatever she wanted. I did the step work. I did it to the best of my ability. I did it honestly, open-minded, and willingly. And my life changed. And I don't want to go into that first time right now, but I can tell you and I can promise you that if you do those steps thoroughly, your life changes. And I met a boy 3 months sober, and I'm still married to him. Don't recommend that. That doesn't happen very often. He's amazing. He had a gross goatee, and he was super skinny, and he had his glasses put together with like that silver tape, and I was like, I'm going to fix him. He's amazing. But I want to get into today, like what life is like when that alcoholic issue goes away, but you're still an alcoholic in real life. And then life starts to happen. You ease out of that, like everything is new job, new friends, new life, family's coming back, kids are coming back. You get a car, whatever the case may be, and it's all exciting, and then life starts to settle down and you are still an alcoholic. What do you do about that? And I just want to, because I only have 15 minutes left, so I want to give 3 instances in where this program in sobriety has shown me time and time again that not only spiritual growth is just so important in this program, but how I have these tools here no matter what, and I can always pick them up if I want to. So I had my daughter Penny, and while I was pregnant with her, I was like, oh, you know, I need to be a mom first. And I started going to like maybe 2 meetings a month. I told my sponsor I'd be back. I really needed to focus on being a mom. And when I had Penny, not only was I an untreated alcoholic at that point, but I got some really, really severe postpartum depression where I thought my daughter was a boy. I thought they switched babies at birth. I thought about holding her and jumping out of the 3rd-story window in my apartment. I thought about driving into a tree really fast with her, or just laying in the tub with her, anything. I was so sick and out of my mind. And I was so spiritually sick too. And I was scared. And I was planning to go drink myself to death one night because I just couldn't bear the thought of trying to mother a kid that just does not love me no matter what, or having a husband that's constantly just disappointed in the situation. Now, this is all made up in my head, but I was so convinced it was true. And this girl happened to move down from North Carolina. I really liked what she had to say. And I was getting my keys and I sat back down, and this is God working for me in my life, in and through me when I can't. And instead of leaving, I texted her and I said, I'm really sick and I'm really scared and I'm going to die if you don't sponsor me. And she said, okay, let's do some work. And I did. And my relationship with my daughter changed, and I got to be a mother to her. And the guilt of the time lost didn't eat at me anymore. And I didn't feel like this kid was going to lead a doomed life because I was incapable of being a mother for her. When actually I was doing the best I can. I just didn't know how to at that moment. I learned to forgive myself and look at it objectively, swallow some ugly truths about myself, and get closer to God because of it. And then Nikki gave me permission to talk about my resentment against her. So further down the line, I had another child. Her name is Millie. And I was 3 weeks postpartum, and I was the opener here. And I was picking some guy up to help me open. I had a kid on my arm. I was doing my best, but I wasn't always showing up, or I was always late, or, I was doing what I could. And there was an emergency meeting held, and it was politely pointed out that maybe somebody else should do it. And I was hormonal, and instead of going, you know what? That's a really good idea, thank you. I said, oh, hell no. I got so mad at Nikki. And it festered. It festered in me. I tried to justify my feelings and actions against Nikki. Anybody who would listen, I'm like, she's crazy. She's so mean. And I was just filling myself with resentment and hatred for someone who had no idea how I felt about this, that an easy conversation could have fixed, but I didn't. And I wasn't willing to look at myself, so I said to my amazing sponsor, I said, I just need a different experience in AA. I'm gonna go with a different sponsor, because I was so unwilling to look at my crap, because I want to wear it like a blanket. And so I got this new sponsor, and then Nikki got the same sponsor, and I'm like, oh, now she's following me. She's stalking me, guys. She's crazy. And I would be on the Zoom meetings just staring at her, like every time she'd laugh at me, like she's laughing at me. I was insane. I had lost my mind. And this is how an alcoholic who's unwilling to trust her higher power and do the work that she is so familiar with, this is how fast that I go off the rails. And finally the pain got great enough, and I went to my old sponsor sobbing, begging her to take me back. Like I may as well have had like a boombox over my head at her window. And I was like, I'll do anything, I'm sorry. And she reluctantly took me back because I hurt her. I said, bye. Someone I've spent years with, because I'm selfish, because I'm an alcoholic, and this is what I do when I stray away from my higher power. I do my own decisions, and that's never good for me. And I did this work on Nikki with my sponsor, and it was some of the most immense spiritual growth. I went from humiliation to humility, because I swallowed some really, really ugly truths about myself that I wasn't willing to look at. And the pain almost got great enough that I almost drank. Nikki, I'm just kidding. But that's where I go. That's where I lead myself when I try to lead my own life. And we go through these dark nights of the spirit where we go so low, it almost feels like it's inescapable. But that pain gets great enough and you come to a fork in the road where you're like, am I going to do something about this, or am I going to kill myself? And the last way, and the most impactful way that I have seen this program in my life work in and through me is my stepson. We got my stepson full-time quite literally overnight, 6.5 years ago. He was 6 years old. We went from seeing him like 2 times a year to quite literally having this little boy every single day. And at first, I was like, okay, that's fine, we can do this. No warning, we've got this. And then I started to resent him. He was angry, he would break things, he'd bring knives to school, he would fist fight kids, he'd choke them, he was throwing chairs, he was just so mad. And then I was getting mad at him for being mad. And this, over a span of years, my resentment got bigger and bigger and bigger because this kid was so angry. And I was like, he's gonna shoot a school up one day. This kid is so troubled. He needs to go back to his mom's. And I was literally at the point that I was going to tell the person I love most in this world that it's me and my daughters or Vinny. And I did the step work on it. And I did the step work on it, and I looked at some really ugly truths about myself and how selfish I am. I looked at this little boy and I villainized and awfulized him because it was making my life slightly uncomfortable, and I hated him for that. And I realized that this little boy just needs a mom. He just needs a hug from a mom. And I did not give that to him for like 3 years. And when I changed my behavior, he changed his. I showed him love and kindness and tolerance. And he is so good now. He's like a thespian. He's in like acting class and he plays drums. And like he's super cool and funny. And I went to St. Augustine last month with my family, and I was walking along the beach with him, and I had my arm around him, and he goes, "I'm so glad you're in my life and that you got to raise me." Everything. I am his confidant. We sit after school and talk. Like, he knows that I am his safe space now, and I love that because I love him. He's like my little best friend. And he's so witty and funny, and I just enjoy him. And I spent all those years standing in my own way because I didn't want the hassle. And when I let this program in, and when I see what my God can do, it is so far beyond anything that I can imagine. My life is amazing today. And I'm going to wrap up with one final story, and then I'll be done. I got a hold of Bubba's wife about 5 years ago. I was so nervous, I sent her a text this long, and I was like, "I have your blanket. I want to give it back to you. I'm so sorry I lied to you all those years ago." And she answered, and she's like, "Okay, meet me at the Village Inn in Plant City." And I was like, "Okay." And on the ride there, I'm like, "It's okay. I've never been in a fight. I can take a punch, though. I've got this. I'm good. I got this." And I got out there, and I had this big Tupperware, and I'm like shaking. And I got out, and I handed it to her, and she turned around, and she gave me a big hug, and she said, "I'm so glad you're alive." This program is so powerful. I have people in here today that I love so much, and they love me. I know how to have a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship. I know how to show up for people. I know how when I let God in my life, how it works for me. It's far beyond anything I'm capable of, and those instances in my sobriety prove time and time again, I'm an alcoholic at the end of the day. I need God in my life. I need this program in my life. And when I stray away, I know I have it here. And I've been lucky enough to not allow it to bring me too far in the other direction. Thank you for my sobriety, and thank you and congratulations to all the celebrants.